Plastic, it's everywhere. It's in our vehicles and in our workplaces. It's in our homes and in our gardens. It would be hard to live without it. Plastic is made from oil, a non-renewable resource. 5% of all oil extracted from our Earth is used to make plastic. Yet we hardly recycle it. Old plastic is more often found lying around in our environment or disposed of in landfill. On a small island where land is scarce and fresh and marine water resources must be protected, minimising waste that goes into landfill, like plastic, should be a priority of all waste management departments. The best way to keep plastic out of landfill is to recycle it, and almost all types of plastic are recyclable. By recycling plastic, we are saving around 80% of the virgin raw material that would otherwise have been used. Plastic waste is fast becoming a precious resource.
We're at Sims Plastics here in Australia, where we collect a wide range of plastic from both industry and domestic households. Once that material is brought into our sorting yards, we'll determine what type of plastic it is and whether it's suitable to go into our manufacturing process, where we would reclaim the polymers from that material. Otherwise, we could then send it to export markets.
To effectively recycle plastic on your island, you need to sort the plastic materials into various categories. This will maximise your return at exportation. To identify which category the plastic belongs to, you need to look for the recycling symbol somewhere on the plastic product.
I have here with me a milk bottle, and if I look on the bottom of that milk bottle, I can see that there is a number 2 symbol on there. And if I refer back to the information, it will tell me that in fact it is made from HDPE.
1. Polyethylene terephthalate, PET. 2. High-density polyethylene, HDPE. 3. Polyvinyl chloride, PVC. 4. Low and linear low-density polyethylene, LDPE and LLDPE. 5. Polypropylene, PP. 6. Polystyrene and expanded polystyrene, PS. and EPS. Seven. Other.
The plastic materials that you aren't able to characterise via the symbol or from a known application, then you can do some simple tests to determine what the material is.
You start with a flotation test. Plastic will either float or sink. This is followed by a burning test. Plastics have different burning characteristics which tell you what type of plastic it is. The flame may be bright yellow or self-extinguishing. There may be no smoke, or it may be black and sooty. For full details, you need to refer to the easy-to-follow raw materials identification table. All plastic products can be recycled into another plastic product. But not usually back into the same product it once was, without adding more virgin material. Only PET, HDPE and some Category 7 products can be used to make the same item again. For a better understanding of plastic recycling, visit a plastic recycler. With a plastic identification card in hand, Samoa's Whawhatai Sagapoluteli visits Sims Plastic in Australia.
Oh. But this is the one that I was talking about.
Similar to your beer crates?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. So this one here actually has the recycling symbol,
okay.
number 2. So it tells us that it's HDPE. So that makes it a lot easier for us to identify and know what application we can then put that material to.
One of the main problems we have a lot of plastic from electronics, computer casing,
yes.
Also automobile vehicles.
Right.
You know, the plastic in the front of the cars. So you have a lot of that.
There's a lot more plastics in cars.
Yeah, that's now
number 5. So this is a typical automotive bumper. So you'll see that there's a metal bracket on the end there that needs to be removed. Some small clips and some small bolts on it. Some more substantial plates of metal there where the number plate, registration plate would be attached. So they need to be removed from it as well. In these smaller types of clips we want those removed. With this product, it will tell you on the inside usually what it's manufactured from. For the LDPE, there's a range of films that we would be able to collect. So typical packaging type of films, the pallet wrap or the stretch wrap that comes off, we can take that in for recycling. LDPE bags, these have been used to collect a range of just bottle waste.
Plastic bags. Plastic bag is now a very nuisance item in the Pacific Island. And if we want to export this kind of things, that will be the challenge for us, is meeting the exportation cost.
That's right.
We are looking at ways how to export this kind in the Pacific Island rather than disposing in the backyards.
Yep.
It takes another 200 years.
That's right. So then it comes back to initially sorting the material to get your cleanest streams and your most valuable streams. and then once they're baled, to get the maximum density on those bales, so you're getting your best shipping weights in your containers.
Oh, okay.
So this is a good example of a mixed plastic. So this has all come out of the consumer stream, post-consumer stream, and this will be the lowest value material because it's all mixed. So this is all different types of materials. So you can see there's a milk carton. It's a number 2, HDPE, but it hasn't been sorted out of the stream. On its own, it's a very valuable stream. Mixed in here, it gets a very low price. You have lids off ice cream containers. Some of those are made from PP, some are made from LDPE. So again, it's all mixed in here. As you noted before, an ice cream container, it's got that whitening effect about it. So that usually indicates that it's polypropylene. And there would be other materials in here, maybe a high density polyethylene bottle, some PP bottles, polystyrene food containers would also get mixed into here. Some clear, either PET or PVC. But the more mixed it is, the lower the value of that material when you're trying to export that from Samoa.
Whether you mix your baleable plastic together or you separate each plastic into their categories will depend on the volume of plastic generated by your island, available landfill, and the organisational, financial and policy system you put into place to drive sustainable waste management. For some small islands, mixed bales may be a preferred solution to landfill and environmental pollution.
So there's no problem of us having a lot of this kind of material. Now in Samoa we have a lot of disposal material in the landfill. So once we have such an arrangement with you, then I think we'll be able to organize in Samoa and coordinate a collection program.
The plastic casing on electronic waste can be baled or granulated and exported as recyclable plastic. It is worth twice that of consumer plastic. But you will be left with the metal electronic components and toxic screens to dispose of. Alternatively, electronic waste can be exported as e-waste. You do not need to dismantle anything, although as with plastic, containers will most likely be fumigated at their destination.
At Sims E-Recycling, we recycle up to about 98% of the product, meaning we get copper out of it, aluminium out of it, boards out of it, wire out of it, and also steel and plastic. When you're exporting your e-waste from the islands, this is the way we'd like to see it come into Australia, with the stretch wrap around it. It holds the product on the pallets well, and it's also recyclable. Another way of looking at it is use the cartons that you have imported into the country, and now you can use them to put the product back into the boxes and export them back to us so we can recycle them. We recycle the cardboard as well. And also you can look at putting the product straight into the container, and that way you could save some cost and get more product in a container as well.
For bulky items such as these containers, it may be best to export those by filling them with other scrap material inside so that you utilise the space. Alternatively, you could cut them down by cutting the sides and ends off those and then folding them together and packing those into a container. This is a mixture of what we would call contaminated plastics out of industry. Not the sort of contamination that you would normally think of, such as paper or chemicals, oil and grease or radioactive materials, but contaminated by a different variety of plastics. We would very carefully sort through this and reclaim the most valuable material that we can, put that through our recycling operation. Then anything that was left over, we could compact that into a bale, and then that would be sold as a mixed plastic stream. I'm just looking at a range of scrap that we have in our yard now, just looking for potential sources of contamination, and particularly metal. This is a piece that's been cut off a lid, and typically it will have a retaining lug in it, and that contains some metal. Now, that would cause us some serious problems if we were to put that into our shredding process. That would do significant damage to the machinery, and if it's an open top shredder, then potentially that could injure one of our employees. We would prefer that that is removed prior to that being exported. Similarly, we have a large bin here with a very substantial piece of metal, and that would cause significant damage also. That would definitely need to come off before that material is exported from your country. When exporting plastics from your island, it's very important that they're free from contaminants such as paper, cardboard, wood, rubber, metal, sand, medical waste, glass, grease and oils. Also, you mustn't include any prohibited substances such as those that are radioactive, poisons, corrosives, explosives, asbestos, flammable liquids and chemicals. At Sims Plastics, the health and safety of all of our employees is extremely important to us. We would want to ensure that each employee goes home at the end of the day just the same way that they've come to work at the start of the day. Therefore, we must ensure that employees are wearing a high visibility vest like the one that I've got on so that they can be seen by mobile equipment in the factory. Also, we protect their fingers and toes. We provide work shoes, and they must wear those with protective toe caps. Gloves would be provided where necessary to protect against cuts on their hands and fingers. If the factory area is noisy, then there must be hearing protection provided and worn by the employees. Also, if there is any danger of contaminants in their eyes, then we would provide safety glasses, just like the pair that I have, and they must be worn at all times in those factory areas. In any manufacturing process, there are many hazards that we come across. Mobile equipment is one of those, where we have trucks and forklifts. So we put in a physical barrier to separate our employees from these potential hazards. Such as fork trucks, we must stop and ensure that the fork truck is given right of way.
Minimisation is an important component of any sustainable waste management system. On islands, plastic shopping bags are a prominent and visual problem for which there are several solutions. Plastic bags can be eliminated altogether, as in the case of several towns in Australia which have become plastic bag free. Most supermarkets in cities and towns in Australia now offer reusable and recyclable bags made of woven polypropylene plastic. One thing is certain, as long as plastic bags are free, customers will continue to use them. If customers have to pay for their bags or are given other options, they are more likely to use alternatives to carry their goods. The Polynesian island of Tahiti took a very successful approach to its plastic bag problem. With the cooperation of importers and suppliers, they replaced the normal plastic shopping bag with tough, reusable and recyclable plastic bags. Customers had to buy their first bag for around $1.30 Australian. If they bring their old bag back, the supermarket replaces it with a new one. If not, they must buy another one.
Nous avons commencé à réunir les industriels, à réunir les commerçants, à réunir donc toute cette profession pour savoir comment on pourrait distribuer ces sacs, comment on pourrait organiser autour de tous ces partenaires donc la promotion de ces sacs. Il faut savoir en effet qu'aujourd'hui, c'est moins de 25 millions de sacs qu'on avait la coutume de prendre chez nos commerçants. Ça fait 25 millions de sacs en moins. Donc c'est des sacs en moins qui se retrouvent dans la nature. Ensuite, la population donc, a bien joué le jeu, donc, a bien compris le message. Hein, on allait donc encore là un peu plus vers la protection de notre environnement.
Est-ce que ça vous gêne que vous êtes obligé de payer les sacs en plastique?
Non, pas forcément, vu que ça a été adapté pour l'environnement et tout. Moi, je pense pas que ça nous gênerait parce qu'une fois que tu payes, et tu peux utiliser à chaque fois, et une fois que c'est usé, mais tu reviens ici à la caisse ou à l'accueil, comme quoi ton sac est usé, comme ça te donne un autre sachet en plastique gratuitement.
Dans ma voiture, j'ai un bac qui est toujours le même, que je réutilise à chaque fois, un grand bac en plastique. Donc j'arrive dans la voiture, je mets tout dans le bac. Arrivé à la maison, je prends le bac et je descends.
C'est pour l'environnement, c'est très bien, c'est propre, et on voit moins de sacs plastiques qui traînent sur la route, sur la plage.
Tahiti could bale and export its bags for recycling, but at the moment they're being trialled by local industrialists as raw material to make plastic garbage bags. Sorting at the home is the most efficient way to collect recyclable waste. Some councils in Australia use small rectangular bins, one for paper and the other for plastic, glass and metal. The wheelie bins are used for landfill refuse. Other councils provide user and worker-friendly colour-coded wheelie bins to distinguish between recyclables and non-recyclables. Tahiti uses the colour code system too. The green wheelie bin is for recyclables and the grey wheelie bin is for landfill waste. To help people get into the habit of sorting their recyclables properly, some Tahitian councils use inspectors to check the bin contents. The inspectors are trained by the Polynesian Environment Company.
Ici, c'est quand même une famille qui trie bien ses déchets.
Oui, trie bien
Quelle sorte d'erreur on a?
Sac de plastique.
D'accord.
Et
ça,
sinon,
par contre, c'est bien.
Oui,
ça, c'est un bon déchet.
Un bon déchet et puis le carton aussi.
D'accord. On a fait un journal qui est distribué gratuitement, qu'on va te donner. Donc, à l'intérieur, il y a toutes les consignes de tri de ce que les gens peuvent mettre. Donc, comme ça, ce sont des images, ça permet de bien comprendre ce qu'on met dans le bac vert.
Okay.
The most commonly recycled consumer plastic is PET bottles, but much more can be recycled. You need to put a collection system in place, educate the public, and acquire the right processing equipment. At Tahiti's material recovery facility, PET bottles are separated from paper and metal. The bottles are then baled on this horizontal baler, which can also bale other plastics and other recyclables. This type of system is good for large volumes of waste, as in Tahiti. At the cost of close to $1 million, this is not the most appropriate machinery for most Pacific islands. However, there is other equipment available in the market which is appropriate, much cheaper, less energy consuming, and which produce export quality bales. Like this smaller horizontal Hydropack baler. Or this vertical Brahmadan baler. The Brahmadan can be shipped to your island in a container. It meets the electricity supply available on small islands and produces export quality bales of various plastics, paper and cardboard, and cans.
The vertical baler, it's cheaper. It's used perfect for the smaller area with less plastic. You can sort of do one bale of paper, one bale of mixed plastic, one bale of film.
Complementing your smaller horizontal or vertical baler would be a small granulator for harder plastics like PET and acrylic. You must granulate only the one plastic type at a time, or your export will be worthless. Granulators come in various sizes.
This machine is a 10 horsepower small granulator. This is small and mobile, and it would be perfect for small jobs. It's a lot of a lot of companies with not so much production in terms of plastic scrap uses this type of machine, and I think it's perfect for small islands.
Even polystyrene can be melted into exportable lumps. Larger plastic objects can be downsized by this bandsaw or a reciprocating or sabre saw. Now that you have a system in place, you can either stock your plastic until you have an exportable volume, or you can export straight away. Exporting your plastic may be economically feasible, you may export at cost, or it may always be a subsidised operation. This will depend on the volume of material you have, shipping arrangements, global prices, and supportive policies and taxes or incentives that are in place on your island. The importance is to dispose of the large volumes of plastic you import every year in a manner that sustains your natural environment for future generations.